Okay, so this is the second day. So examples 1 and example 2 were based upon what we just did with that trig spinner. Okay, being able to figure out your cosine of 420, negative 420, so on and so forth. See if you can possibly do it without a calculator, without using a picture. So 420 is closer to what value? 180, 360? 360, so what's 420 minus 360? 60, so it's basically asking for the cosine of 60 degrees. What's the cosine of 60 degrees? Okay, and then what is the sine of 60 degrees for part C? Root 3 over 2, okay? So if we had drawn a picture, okay, we would have had 60 degrees here, and would you agree on your unit circle that you have a 1/2 comma root 3 over 2 at 60 degrees? Yeah? Okay. So then the only thing that's going to happen when you go to do the negative 420, remember you're going to go in the opposite direction, and now you're going to finish down here, which is still a 60, and what's going to happen to our point if we flip it across the x-axis? The y gets negative. So now you got 1/2 comma negative root 3 over 2, okay, and so what's the cosine of negative 420? Still 1/2 because it's still the x value, and then your sine is negative root 3 over 2, okay? So, again, just trying to piece it all together and just show you some quicker methods in order to solve those, okay? Do we need to go through example 2? No? Okay. Then we'll skip down to example 3. All right, so here is the idea for today. It's the opposite direction, okay? I'm telling you that the cosine value is 1/2. You have to give me 3 angles, and at some point we're going to convert those into radian measure that represent a cosine value of 1/2. So let's start with the idea that it's positive. So what quadrant should we possibly start in? Quadrant 1, okay? So in terms of a picture, okay, in quadrant 1, we have the following situation where the cosine value, which is your x value, is 1/2. If I finish my triangle, what would this opposite side be? Root 3 over 2. Okay? So can anybody tell me what this angle measure is? That's the goal.
30.
I heard 30 and I heard 60.
60.
60. Okay? So one of our angles is 60 degrees. Now, what if I said I want the 3 smallest positive angles? Okay, and the reason why I'm specifying more specifically is because if I wanted just 3 angles, it'd be super easy. Just take 60, add 360, you do another full circle, you'll end up in the same spot. Add 360 again, and you get another angle that ends up in the same spot, and they would all have the same value. Okay? But there is another angle that is less than 360 that also has a cosine value of 1/2. Ooh, how'd you get that? Oh, you looked at the unit circle. Okay, well, how about this? Symmetry. We talked about symmetry with that unit circle. If I do this and went 60 degrees the other way, okay, my x value is still 1/2. This now becomes a negative root 3 over 2, right? That's the only thing that's really going to change. So how can I go this direction and end with 60 degrees left to go in the circle? What angle would that be? Lily said it. That'd be 300 degrees. So when you are given cosine, you're going to have symmetry across the x-axis because the x value will not change. Does that make sense? All right, so what would be the next smallest angle that is positive?
420.
420. How did you get that?
360 plus 60.
360 plus 60. Okay, so the third one, you'll always have to add 360 to the first number. Okay? So what if I took it a step further? Oh, and by the way, we have to convert these. So 60 degrees is pi over 3. 300 is what? 5 pi over 3, and 420, I believe, is 7 pi over 3, okay? Because it does say radian measure, okay? So what if I took it a step further and said, give me the 3 largest negative angles? Largest meaning that, you know, they're closer to 0. So like they might end up being small numbers.
Wouldn't it just be the same, just negative?
Okay, in this case, yes, it won't always be that way. Okay, so what Lauren says is, well, this is negative 60 degrees. This is negative 300 degrees. Okay, and then if we went all the way around and added another 60, we're at negative 420 degrees. So therefore, it's negative pi over 3, negative 5 pi over 3, and negative 7 pi over 3. Okay? Now, in this case, it worked out that way. In the next example, it will
For
not.
what? Just adding negatives?
So she said it was just the same numbers, just negative. Okay? All right, so if we flip over to example 4 then. Okay? So we want where sine is a positive root 3 over 2. So since it's positive, where should we start? First quadrant, okay? So I have a situation where I am creating my triangle. Where is sine? Is it along the x-axis or is it the up and down value? Up and down. So it's our y value up over here, okay? And what angle would give us that? 60 degrees, because guess what? It's the same picture as before. Now, what if I wanted another angle that was less than 360 that would also give me a positive root 3 over 2? Yes. Reflected across what axis? The y-axis, because I want the y value to stay the same. Okay, so now if this is also 60 degrees here, the question is, what angle measure is this? 120. 180 minus the 60 gives me 120 degrees. So therefore, I've got 3 angles, 60 degrees, 120 degrees, and my third one, just add 360 to 60, and you got your 420 again. Okay? All right. Now, when I go to do the negative ones, okay, and don't forget, we would have to convert these to radians at some point. Okay, when I go to do the negative ones, they are not going to be negative 60, negative 120, and negative 420. They're going to be different numbers altogether. Because, remember, I'm starting here, and now I'm finishing all the way over here. So what would that one be? What would that blue angle be? 240, because we went 60 degrees beyond half of a circle, so that's negative 240 degrees. Okay? So if I start back over here and I went all the way around and ended on this second terminal side, what would that be? Negative 300. Okay? And then remember the third one that you just have to go back and add the 360 to the 240, or in this case, you have to add a negative 360 because you're going in a negative direction. So what's negative 240 plus negative 360? Negative 600. So I just wanted to show you how this one is a reflection across the y-axis because it's sine. The other one was reflection across the x-axis. And I wanted to show you how the positive and negatives did not just end up being the same. Okay? Questions? All right.